What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. Today we're talking about the Amprex, and this thing is the evil-feeling lightning gun that shocks enemies all over the place. We'll talk about how it stacks up to the current meta of primaries, which are lots of explosion guns, AoE stuff, because this thing is kind of AoE, but at the same time, it might not be AoE enough, even though it's like getting lightning crit procs all over the place. But before we get into it, we're going to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Opera GX. You guys already know about Opera GX, but let's talk about even more of their features that they're always adding. This thing is a very feature-rich gaming browser. So you can basically link your social media. You got Discord, you got Facebook Messenger, Instagram, Twitch, etc., etc. You can have all of your social media at your fingertips just on the side of your browser right here. We've also got custom animated wallpapers. Lots to choose from. I'm sure you could even make your own. Really cool stuff there. There's different themes you can pick from. There's also Google Chrome extension, like it can import them. Also import your settings from whatever browser you're currently using. It's very easy to switch over. Just go to the synchronize button, import it, it's done. Now I'm just good to switch over to this browser, focused on gaming. There's also a mobile version of this too, which is pretty nice. You can get a new mobile browser on your phone, on whatever. I do highly support this product. It's very nice to have like a gaming command center once you get back from work. Remember, if you've watched the previous videos, there's a free VPN. There's like hot tab killers. It helps clean up your computer. All this stuff. Really, really nice. I do highly support it, and I hope that you check it out in the link down below, guys. Thank you so much to Opera GX for sponsoring the video today. So, just like the weapons we were talking about previously, this is an AoE-focused gun, the Amprex. Now, this thing has been in the game for a long time, and it actually kind of was one of the meta primaries for a little portion of time there. This thing is going to have 32% crit chance at 2.2 multiplier, 12 fire rate, 100-round magazine. It's a beam weapon with arcing between enemies, and I think it changed like 3 enemies. Shocking 3 enemies at a time. Here's the biggest downfall of this weapon, in my opinion. It's got base electric damage. Decent stash chance at 22, and kind of a bad reload at 2.6. But that base electric damage actually hurts some possible builds. It basically makes it where you can't make a viral heat build. You can't make a pure viral build. You can make a pure corrosive build, but pure corrosive is honestly not what it used to be. Now that the corrosive procs can no longer fully remove enemy armor, they're capped at 80% at 10 corrosive procs. So you can use corrosive damage with heat to get even more reduced enemy armor, which I would probably recommend to most people. But we've also got a viral Hunter Munitions build right here, which probably will scale a little bit better, although those electric procs aren't really doing much for you. So we're going to show some Steel Path gameplay. I do have a God Roll Ribbon for this thing too. Or it used to be a God Roll before they changed out multi-shot works on beam weapons. So we can show that as well. Just seeing replacing bladed rounds with Amprex Ribbon mod. We'll first show the corrosive heat build. Now remember, since we have primary merciless nowadays, you do not need to run Serration in your build. This will give you 360% increased damage, and we don't need Serration, because if you put too many mod slots for just base damage up front, it's kind of diminishing returns. So that's kind of why I'm really debating on if this Galvanized Aptitude mod will ever be used. Maybe on like the Boo Boo Nico it will be used because you have so many status procs, but this thing has very low status potential, as you can see right here. Just 2 of them, and if you were to take the heat mod off, it's just 1 proc. So really, really bad status potential. It will definitely be tied into the grades we give this thing later in the video. So let's just summon in 12 Butchers to get our Merciless stacks up, then 8 Exo Goostrug Officers. Keep on running the Bane mod. If you don't have the Prime Bane mods, you don't want to run the Prime Bane mods, just run Heavy Caliber or Serration in that last slot. Or maybe even another crit mod. So now we've got our 8 stacks is enough, 10 stacks. Let's start shooting these Grineers. Keep in mind we do have the Avenger trick that we've shown in a couple videos here, where we're running Combat Discipline, and we're also, we're taking some damage to our health, so we get that Avenger proc to go off, giving us 45% increased crit chance. Now that was pretty decent there. As you can see, some red crits. We've got 1 Vigilante mod on our frame, and of course the Cat, the Panzerwolfenpfeiler, is giving them viral procs every here and there. Now this looks pretty good in a simulacrum. I'm going to tell you right now, when you get in mission, it does not as good, honestly. It's not as good, specifically in the Steel Path, because the Steel Path is where it's at nowadays. So you get those new Arcanes, that's where you get the Steel Essence. Fighting Acolytes there is some value in fighting Acolytes nowadays. So this thing is not great against Acolytes, to be honest. I've seen better. I've also seen worse, to be fair. So we're going to show the ribboned up build right here. So there's no bladed rounds. And this is with a God Roll Ribbon. It's kind of not really doing too great, to be honest. at least like maybe I'm spoiled at this point, but I honestly feel like we're gonna be doing an Ignis Wraith video here pretty soon as well. I think the Ignis Wraith might just be better than this, honestly. This Amprex could use a new variant. We could have used a Tenant Amprex, honestly. I believe this is a Corpus weapon, so yeah, it definitely feels like it's not really holding up. I mean, like, you're seeing lots of orange and red crits here, to be fair, but that's with the God Roll Riven. I'm going to start using Zatav's Whisper here. Now, Zatav's Whisper does give you a Void proc on the enemies. That could make Galvanized Aptitude a little bit more useful, as this thing would have 3 procs then, not just the 2. But yeah, we'll show the 100 munitions build on the Simulacrum enemies here. The 100 munitions build, like, sure, it was okay, but I feel like if you were to be using the Amprex here, with 100 munitions built in the Steel Path, you might as well just bring like a Brahma or, you know, Ignis Wraith probably is better than this, like I said. So we'll talk about that in a little bit in another video, but we'll show the viral 100 munitions built in the Simulacrum here, and then we can plop on the Riven afterwards just to see how that goes. Yeah, Acolyte killing potential. With the Corrosive build, it's better than with a Slash build, because the Acolytes are actually weak to Corrosive, funny enough. So if you want to use your primary against the Acolytes, and main it, and don't bring like a glaive or anything like that to deal with the Acolytes, mod your primary for Corrosive, or just bring the Trumna and don't even care about what you're modding for, just one-shot the Acolyte like it didn't even exist. We have a video on the channel for that one as well. So here's the viral electric build. With critical delay, it's 96% crit chance. Reducing your fire rate is pretty bad on a a beam weapon like this, but critical delay, I'm running it on basically everything now. If you were to run the other mod, I think it's like, you're losing some crit chance for sure, but you go to 80%. So you lose 16% crit chance if you take that mod off. It's going to be up to personal preference. It technically does reduce your DPS, but when you're running Avenger and the Combat Discipline trick, it's going to let you get more orange crits and technically more red crits with a mod like Vigilante Pursuit. All right, so let's summon in these guys, get those same tests as before, but with viral electric instead. Those electric procs, honestly, they could just buff electric procs. Would anyone complain if they buffed electric procs? If you would complain about them buffing electric procs, let me know down in the comments below so I can just block you. All right, so there you go. There's a Slash, pretty decent. I mean, that was a 255k, but are you going to really be expecting to see 255k all the time? I don't think so. So now that they're fully viral procced up, pretty decent chunks. You could try a Corrosive 100 munitions build on this thing, just to get, like, attacking at two fronts at once. You're getting the Corrosive base damage. If you're already on the Panzervolk Profiler, they're going to have viral procs them already. The viral damage type itself isn't that great, but it does help you get more slash proc damage. So that technically could be nice. So let's do the same build, but we'll take off bladed rounds for Amprex Visa Crititus. Plus crit damage, plus overall damage, plus critical chance, minus damage to infested. I think it'll be okay. I think we'll be okay without that damage to infested. So we're going to summon in the same enemies, and we're going to do the viral electric 100 munitions build. Like I said, heat is better technically, because reducing their armor, your upfront damage will be better there. You can of course go for headshots with this thing, but getting a headshot does not make the chaining do more damage. The chaining will always do the same amount of damage, but keep in mind with these beam weapons, the damage ramps up over time. So the longer you're shooting, it will start ramping up the full damage. It does not start at full damage when you start shooting an enemy like this. So, honestly, for a God Roll Riven, I'm not very impressed by this. I guess I could technically be running more fire rate, but when I'm jumping through all these hoops to make this thing work out with a God Roll Riven in the first place, it kind of just makes you question, why am I running this in the first place? So, yeah. As far as the Amprex, I'm going to give the weapon grades now. I'm going to go ahead and say that I don't think it's a very good weapon. I think it's average. And when I say average, I mean we're putting like the tippity top, like Boo Boo Nico at the top, Trumna's up there, Kuva Zarr, things like that. And like a fail grade, like an F, would be, a normal Hind. Like we're talking like real bad. So this thing's like 2 grades above a normal Hind. It's still AoE. It's got good crit and status stats. But, the proc potential is terrible. We have basically a near failing grade on the proc potential. At least it is electric, so it can make corrosive easily. But as I said before, corrosive ain't what it used to be. Corrosive procs should honestly get buffed up. We're running viral on all of this stuff nowadays. Corrosive got a little bit too nerfed, in my opinion, as did gas damage. Remember gas damage? I bet people that play Zaku and fully remove enemy armor remember gas damage, but everyone else does not really use it ever, including myself. Maybe you can find some bug to make it work out, but that's not the intended way it's supposed to be working. We've shown the math. It technically heat damage and toxin damage scales better than than gas damage. It's like an AoE effect that doesn't really do that much. Same with electric. Electric should probably have its chaining distance like tripled. That would be pretty fun. Acolyte clear speed, I mean, nearly a failing grade. We have C-. I don't usually do minuses, but it technically could be, you know, average. Like, let's say a Soma Prime is average, a C grade weapon. The Soma Prime probably kills the Acolyte just as fast as this weapon does, honestly. Maybe a little bit faster, since the Soma Prime can have, you know, honestly, they'd probably kill the exact same speed if you had a Riven, same kind of build and all that stuff. So, yeah, overall, would I recommend this to you? No, I wouldn't. I'd say we kind of need a new Amprex, a Tenant Amprex, an Amprex Vandal, etc., etc. The Riven Dispo is kind of low for how strong this thing is. I'm hoping for a Riven buff someday. And yeah, that's going to be basically it for the video, guys. Make sure you check out Opera GX in the link down below. There will also be a pinned comment. Thanks for supporting the channel. Keep in mind, oh yeah, as well as the Exilus mod. For the Exilus mod, I'm running Vigilante Supplies for increased crits because you get so many crits with this thing. You can technically run the Beam range mod now they've added at the Exilus slot, and you know, it would be a little bit more convenient, but I feel like Vigilante Supplies is very nice on this. We're not having an ammo issue, but we're getting so many crits that increased crit chance, we're going from orange to red, and from yellow to orange, that's pretty valuable for this thing specifically, giving you a big chunk of extra damage because you're going to double dip on that crit multiplier going from one to the other. So either way, guys, hopefully you found the video helpful. More AoE primary videos coming out very soon. And yeah, hopefully you guys have a nice night. Take it easy and peace.